The meeting hall floated in deep space, on the edge of a dim yellow star. It was a neutral place, called Harmony Station. Many alien species came here to talk, make deals, or settle problems without fighting. Today the air felt heavy. Everyone knew something big was about to happen. The hall was round and large. Seats rose in circles like steps. In the center stood a clear platform where speakers stood to be seen by all. Lights above changed color to show who had permission to talk. Right now they glowed soft blue, calm but watchful. First came the Krellar. They looked like giant insects with shiny black shells and 6 strong legs. Their mouths clicked when they spoke. Next entered the Vorath. These were tall reptiles covered in hard scales. Long tails swept behind them, and sharp teeth showed when they opened their mouths to breathe. Then the Lyrani drifted in. They were tall and thin, almost like living mist. Their skin shimmered with faint light, and their large black eyes never blinked. They spoke straight into minds instead of using sound. All these species belonged to something called the Apex Concord. It was an old group of the galaxy's strongest hunters. For thousands of years, they had ruled the best hunting grounds, the richest planets, and the safest trade lanes. No one challenged them. No one dared. Then the doors at the far end opened again. 5 humans walked in. They wore simple dark uniforms with the blue and white circle of the Earth Alliance on the chest. No bright colors, no fancy armor, just clean lines and practical boots. The man in front was tall, with short brown hair starting to turn gray at the sides. His name was Captain Daniel Hayes. Behind him walked Lieutenant Karen Brooks, a woman with straight black hair tied back tight and calm green eyes. Brian Ellis, the science officer, shorter and thinner, always looking like he was thinking 3 steps ahead. 2 security officers followed, silent and alert. The aliens watched them enter. Some made low sounds of surprise. Humans looked small compared to Vorath or Krellar. They had no claws, no venom, no thick shells. They moved on 2 legs without tails to balance them. Many in the hall thought the same thing. These were soft creatures, easy prey. An old Vorath named Zethar rose from his seat. He was one of the oldest in the Concord and spoke for the group today. His voice came out rough and deep through the station's translator. "Humans," he said, "you have come far into space that belongs to the Apex Concord. Your new colonies sit on worlds we claimed long before your kind learned to use fire. 3 planets in particular, New Horizon, Iron Reach, and Clear Sky, fall inside our marked borders. You must leave them. All people, all machines, all buildings. You have 1 standard cycle to go. If you stay, we will remove you." The hall stayed quiet. Everyone waited for the human answer. Daniel Hayes stepped onto the center platform. He looked straight at Zethar. His voice was even and clear. "We explored those systems because our sensors showed no one lived there. No cities, no bases, no signals. The planets were empty. We built settlements because our people needed room to grow. If your old maps say those worlds belong to you, maybe it is time to draw new maps." A low hiss moved through the alien seats. Zethar's tail flicked once. "You speak like children who do not understand danger," he said. "The Concord does not share. We hunt, we take. Your species is young. Your bodies are weak. You have no natural weapons. You are prey. Go back to your small blue world. Stay in your safe corner. Or learn what happens when prey steps into the path of true predators." She spoke next. "With respect, Elder Zethar, you should look at our history before you decide what we are. We did not survive on Earth by being the strongest or the fastest. We survived by being stubborn, by planning, by never giving up." Zethar made a sharp laugh sound. "Stubborn prey is still prey. The Concord has broken stronger species than yours." Daniel raised one hand, not in anger, just to ask for quiet. We came here today to talk. We hoped for peace. But if you force this, we will answer. Know this, humans do not start wars. When others start them, we finish them. The words hung in the air. Some aliens looked confused. Others looked amused. A few Krellar clicked their mandibles, in what might have been laughter. Zethar turned to the rest of the hall. Let the record show the humans were warned. They refused to leave our territory. Therefore, the Apex Concord now declares open conflict against the human species. All Concord ships and hunters are free to engage human forces and colonies. This war begins now. He pressed a claw against a panel. A red light flashed across the ceiling. The declaration was sent to every Concord world, every ship, every hunter pack. The humans did not move. They stood still and listened as the message repeated in different languages across the station speakers. When it finished, Daniel Hayes looked up at the ceiling lights, then back at Zethar. He spoke one last time. His voice was calm, almost polite. Congratulations, you have declared war on the deadliest predators known. No one laughed this time. The words felt strange in the big hall. A few Lorani tilted their heads, as if trying to read deeper meaning in the human minds. They found nothing but steady purpose. The human team turned and walked out. Their steps were even. No one ran. No one looked back. Outside the hall, in the corridor that led to their shuttle, Karen Brooks spoke quietly to Daniel. Do you think they understood? Daniel gave a small smile. They will, soon. Back in the meeting hall, Zethar sat down again. He looked at the empty platform where the humans had stood. Send the first hunter packs, he ordered. Start with the smallest colony. Show them what fear feels like. Orders went out. Ships powered engines, claws sharpened, venom glands filled, psychic lures glowed brighter. Far away, on the green world called New Horizon, a farmer named John Carter looked up from his field. A message light blinked on his wristband. He read the words and felt the familiar tightness in his chest. The same feeling he had felt years ago when storms came or raiders tried to take what his family built. He turned to his wife, who stood nearby with their youngest child on her hip. They're coming, he said. She nodded once. Then we get ready. Across 3 human worlds, people stopped what they were doing. They read the same message. They looked at each other. Some smiled. Some looked serious. None looked afraid. In orbit above New Horizon, a small defense ship turned its sensors toward the edge of the system. The captain, a woman named Sofia Ramirez, watched new contacts appear on her screen. Many ships, big ones, armed ones. She pressed the ship-wide comm. All hands, this is the captain. We have company. Looks like the Concorde sent their welcome party. Stations, weapons hot. Let's give them the reception they asked for. In the silence that followed, a single message went out from the human fleet to every Concorde channel they could reach. Short, clear. No anger, just fact. Congratulations. You have declared war on the deadliest predators known. The stars waited. The hunt was about to begin. New Horizon was a green jewel of a planet. Thick jungles covered most of the land. Tall trees reached high enough to touch low clouds. Rivers ran fast and clear. The air smelled of wet earth and sweet flowers. Animals moved through the undergrowth, some small and quick, others big enough to shake the ground when they walked. Humans had come here 2 years earlier. They built small towns with strong houses made of local wood and metal panels brought from Earth. Solar farms caught sunlight on hilltops. Water purifiers hummed quietly near every settlement. Schools, farms, and workshops stood side by side. Children ran barefoot on dirt paths. Adults worked hard, but smiled often. This place felt like home already. In the main settlement called River Bend, Lieutenant Commander John Carter stood on the porch of the command building. He was a tall man with short dark hair and a calm face that rarely showed worry. He had served in the Earth Marines for 15 years before coming here to help protect the new colony. Now he watched the sky through binoculars. A message had come in during the night. The Apex Concord had declared war. The first hunter ships were already moving toward the system. John lowered the binoculars and turned to the woman beside him. Sofia Ramirez was the colony's lead engineer. She had short curly brown hair and hands that always had a little grease on them. She could fix anything: ships, generators, weapons, even broken toys for the kids. "They will come soon," John said. "Scouts first, probably. Small teams to test us." Sophia nodded. "We have the outer sensors set. Drones are in the air. Turrets are online. Everyone knows their job." John looked out at the town. People moved with purpose. Some carried rifles, others loaded supply carts. A group of teenagers helped stack sandbags around important buildings. They had trained for this. Every adult had spent time learning basic combat and survival. The children knew where the safe shelters were. Down in the jungle edge, a squad of Marines moved quietly. Sergeant Mark Evans led them. He was young, strong, and very good at staying hidden. His team wore light armor that changed color to match the leaves and shadows. They carried rifles that fired smart rounds, bullets that could adjust their path a little to hit better. Mark stopped and raised a hand. His team froze. Ahead, through the trees, something moved. Not an animal. Too careful. Too quiet. He touched his helmet comm. "Contact, 300 meters north. Looks like Vorath scouts. 4 of them." The reply came fast. "Copy. Hold position. Drones inbound for eyes." High above, 2 small drones dropped from orbit. They were silent and painted the same green as the leaves. Their cameras zoomed in. The Vorath moved in a loose line. Each one was over 8 feet tall when they stood straight. Scales shimmered. Long claws clicked against rifles they carried. Venom sacs under their jaws pulsed faintly. These were hunters born for the kill. The drones sent pictures back to command. John studied the screen. "Standard recon," he said. "They want to map our defenses, find weak spots, maybe take a few prisoners for information." Sophia pointed at the screen. "See how they spread out? They expect us to run or hide. They don't think we will fight back hard." John gave a small smile. "Then let's surprise them." He switched to the squad channel. "Mark, let them get closer. When they reach the first marker, spring the trap. No prisoners. Quick and clean." "Understood," Mark answered. The Vorath moved forward. They sniffed the air. Their eyes scanned every shadow. They felt confident. This was just another soft world with soft people. Easy hunting. A wooden sign stood there, something the humans had put up as a joke. "Welcome to New Horizon. Please wipe your feet." One Vorath laughed, a hissing sound. He reached out to touch the sign. That was when the ground moved. Panels hidden under dirt flipped open. Steel spikes shot upward. 2 Vorath took hits in the legs. They roared in pain. The other 2 spun, rifles up. Mark's team opened fire from 3 sides. Silent rounds hit scales and found weak spots under arms and necks. One Vorath dropped fast. Another tried to run. A drone above dropped a small grenade. It exploded in white light and sound. The last 2 hunters fell, stunned. Mark walked forward. He checked each body. All dead. No survivors. "Clear," he reported. 4 down. No losses on our side. Back at command. John nodded. "Good work. Clean up and fall back. They will send more." Sophia looked at the map. That was just the first wave. Sensors show 8 more ships entering the outer system. Bigger ones. They are bringing full hunter teams. John rubbed his chin. Then we step it up. Across the planet, other settlements got ready. In the mountain town of Stonegate, a woman named Laura Mitchell ran the local science lab. She was a biologist who studied the local animals. Now she used that knowledge in new ways. She stood in her lab with a team of 5. Tables held cages and vials. On one screen, pictures of local predators flashed. Big cats with 6 legs, snakes that could spit acid, birds that hunted in packs. "We are not the top predator here," Laura said. "The animals are. We just need to borrow some of their tricks." She held up a small dart. "This is venom from the ridge viper. Fast-acting, painful, but we made it stronger. One hit will drop a Vorath in under 10 seconds. Her team nodded. They loaded darts into rifles and crossbows. Others prepared traps with the same venom on tripwires. In the air above the jungles, pilot Ryan Hayes flew a fast attack craft. He was young, with quick hands and sharper eyes. His ship was small, but carried missiles and a chain gun. He loved to fly low, between the trees where bigger ships could not follow. His radio crackled. "Ryan, we have a Concorde landing craft coming down 10 kilometers east. Looks like they want to set up a forward base." Ryan grinned. "On my way." He pushed the stick forward. The ship dropped like a stone, then leveled out just above the canopy. Leaves brushed the hull. He saw the enemy ship, long and narrow, with landing legs extended. Vorath soldiers poured out. Ryan lined up his shot. 2 missiles left the rails. They streaked down and hit the landing craft mid-body. Fire bloomed. The ship broke in half. Soldiers scattered. Ryan circled once, then spoke into the comm. "Base destroyed. Survivors running into the trees. Ground teams can mop up." Hours passed. More Concorde teams landed. Each time, humans met them. Sometimes with bullets, sometimes with traps, sometimes with nothing but patience and a good hiding spot. The hunters who had always won by speed and strength now found themselves facing something new, an enemy that did not run, did not tire, and never stopped learning. At sunset, John Carter stood on a hill overlooking Riverbend. Smoke rose from distant crash sites. The sky turned orange and purple. He heard birds calling, not scared, just normal. Sophia joined him. She carried 2 cups of coffee. "They lost 30 hunters today," she said. "We lost none. Their commanders will be angry." John took the cup. "Good. Angry makes mistakes." He looked out at the jungle. Somewhere out there, more ships were coming. Bigger forces, stronger hunters. But the people of New Horizon were ready. They had farms to protect, children to keep safe, homes to keep standing. And they had something the Concorde did not understand yet. Humans were persistent predators. They chased, they waited, they planned, they adapted. And when the hunt turned against the hunters, they did not stop until it was finished. Night fell. Stars came out. In the distance, engine sounds grew louder. The real fight was just beginning. The Apex Concorde did not like losing. Their first small teams had failed. Scouts died fast. Landing groups vanished in the jungle. Commanders growled in their ships. They decided enough was enough. No more games, no more tests. Now they would send real force. Across the frontier, Concorde fleets gathered. Dozens of warships appeared at the edge of human space. Some were long and sharp like knives. Others were round and heavy like boulders. Each carried hundreds of hunters. Vorath strike teams, Krellar boarding crews, Lirani mindweavers. They had weapons that could melt metal, claws that cut through stone, and psychic powers that made prey freeze in fear. Their plan was simple. Hit many human worlds at once, break their spirit, take the colonies, show the galaxy that no one stood against the Apex. The first big target was Iron Reach. It was a rocky planet with deep mines full of rare metals. Humans dug there day and night. The colony sat in a wide valley between tall mountains. Tall towers held defense guns. Underground bunkers stored supplies. About 8,000 people lived there. Miners, engineers, families. Dr. Laura Mitchell ran the science center. She was a quiet woman with short red hair and steady hands. She spent her days studying rocks and metals. Now, she helped plan defenses. Sergeant Matthew Grant stood beside her. He was broad-shouldered, with a short beard. He led the security teams. Both watched the sky from the main observation deck. Screens showed the Concorde fleet arriving. 20 ships, big ones. They moved into orbit like wolves circling a herd. They brought everything, Matthew said. Laura nodded. They want to end this quick. Alarms sounded. Red lights flashed. Voices called over speakers. All personnel to stations. Incoming assault. Down in the valley, people moved fast. Miners grabbed rifles. Engineers activated shields. Children ran to deep shelters with teachers. No cheers, just quick steps. High above, the Concorde flagship opened launch bays. Dropships poured out. Each one carried 20 hunters. They aimed for the main mining complex. Matthew spoke into his comm. Ground teams ready. Let them land. We want them close. The dropships touched down in clouds of dust. Ramps fell. Hunters jumped out. Vorath roared. Krellar clicked. Lorani glowed with faint purple light. They expected screams, running, chaos. Instead they found silence. Empty streets, closed doors. One Vorath leader raised a clawed hand. Spread out, find them, kill any who resist. They moved forward. Claws scraped metal, tails swept dust. That was when the traps woke up. Hidden panels in the ground opened. Chains shot up and wrapped around legs. Spikes rose from the street. Gas canisters popped and filled the air with thick yellow smoke. Vorath coughed. Krellar staggered. Lyrani tried to push the pain away with their minds, but failed. From rooftops and windows, humans opened fire. Bullets hit weak spots, joints, necks, eyes. Hunters dropped one by one. Matthew led a squad from the side street. They wore masks against the gas. Their rifles spoke in short bursts. A Krellar charged him. Matthew rolled aside, fired twice into its soft belly. The creature fell. Laura watched from the command room. She directed drone strikes. Small flying machines dropped bombs on grouped enemies. Explosions lit the valley. The Concorde hunters pushed hard. They broke into buildings. They found empty rooms. Then doors slammed shut behind them. Lights went out. Gas filled the space. When the doors opened again, humans waited with shotguns and blades. One Lyrani tried to use its mind power. It reached out to freeze a group of defenders. The humans wore small earpieces that played loud static. The psychic attack bounced off. A sniper on a high tower ended the Lyrani with one clean shot. Hours passed. The valley filled with smoke and fire. Concorde losses grew. Their dropships tried to lift off. Human missiles found them. Bright flashes marked each kill. By nightfall, the attack stopped. The Concorde ships pulled back to high orbit. They left behind broken hulls and dead hunters. On the flagship bridge, Zethar stared at the reports. His mandibles clicked in anger. "How?" he asked. "They are few, they are soft, yet we bleed." A Vorath officer answered. "They do not fight like prey. They use the ground. They use tricks. They wait for us to make mistakes." Zethar turned away. Then we hit harder. Everywhere at once. The Concorde changed targets. They struck clear sky next. A water world with floating cities. Humans lived on platforms above deep oceans. The Concorde sent swimmers, special hunters with gills and webbed claws. But humans had learned from the first attack. They dropped sonic buoys that sent painful sound waves through water. Hunters twisted in pain. Submarines waited below. Torpedoes found their marks. More ships fell, more hunters died. Back on New Horizon, John Carter walked through River Bend. The town looked different now. Sandbags lined streets. Gun nests sat on rooftops. People carried weapons as naturally as tools. He met Sofia Ramirez at the main gate. She showed him a new device, a small box that jammed Lirani's psychic signals over a wide area. "We took one of their mind weavers alive," she said. "Studied it. Built this. It hurts them more than us." John smiled. "Good. Keep building." Word spread through human space. Every colony fought the same way. They did not charge into open battle. They hid. They struck when the enemy was tired or split up. On one small moon base called Gray Rock, a pilot named Ryan Foster flew alone. His ship was fast and old. He named it Lucky. The Concorde sent 3 hunters to take the base. Ryan waited in the dark side of the moon. When they landed, he came around fast. His guns tore through their ship. Then he landed and walked out with a rifle. The hunters chased him into tunnels. Ryan knew every turn. He led them into a dead end. Explosives he placed earlier collapsed the roof. Dust settled. No hunters walked out. Reports reached Zethar every hour. Losses climbed. Ships damaged. Hunters scared. Something new for them. "They learned too fast," one officer said. "We change tactics. They change faster." Zethar slammed a claw on the table. "Then we go for their heart. We take their homeworld, Earth." The fleet turned. Engines burned bright. Course set for the Sol system. On Earth, people watched the news. Ships gathered in defense orbits. Factories worked day and night. Volunteers trained. Old soldiers came back to service. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the cruiser Vanguard. Karen Brooks was at his side. They looked at screens showing the approaching Concorde Armada. "They're coming here," Karen said. Daniel nodded. "Let them." He opened a channel to the fleet. "This is Hayes. They think they can break us by hitting home. They forget something important. We built this world from nothing. We fought wars here before any of them existed. If they want Earth, they will pay in blood for every inch." The Kree cheered, quiet but strong. Out in the black, the Concorde fleet moved forward. They believed numbers would win. They believed fear would win. They were wrong. Humans did not fight for glory. They fought for home. For tomorrow. And when the fight came to their door, they answered with everything they had. The stars grew bright with engine fire. Battle was close. The Concorde had started this war. Now humanity would end it. The Concorde Armada filled the sky above the Sol system, like a storm cloud made of metal. Hundreds of ships moved in tight formation. Their hulls gleamed under distant sunlight. Engines burned blue and white. At the center floated the flagship, a massive vessel called Fang of Eternity. Zethar stood on its bridge. His claws tapped the command rail. He watched the blue-green planet below. Earth, the human home, the place they said could not be taken. "Begin the assault," he ordered. His voice carried across every ship. "No mercy. No prisoners. Burn their cities if you must. Break their will." The fleet advanced. Weapons charged. Dropships prepared. Hunters sharpened blades and checked venom reserves. They believed this would end fast. One strong push. One final hunt. On the bridge of the cruiser Vanguard, Captain Daniel Hayes stood with his hands behind his back. The room was quiet, except for soft beeps and low voices. Screens showed the enemy fleet closing in. Karen Brooks stood beside him. Her face showed no fear, only focus. Around them worked officers like Tactical Specialist Olivia Grant and Weapons Officer Ethan Cole. All young, all ready. "Numbers?" Daniel asked. Olivia checked her panel. 187 confirmed contacts. 30 capital ships. The rest are escorts and carriers. They outnumber us 4-1. Ethan added, "Their weapons are charging. Primary batteries will be ready in 4 minutes." Daniel nodded once. "Then we don't wait." He opened the fleet-wide channel. His voice went to every human ship in the system, cruisers, frigates, fighters, even small defense platforms. This is Hayes. They came to our home. They think we will break. They are wrong. We fight for everything below us. Families, friends, the ground we stand on. Hold nothing back. Strike hard. Strike first. Make them remember this day. The channel filled with short replies. Copy. Ready. For Earth. The human fleet moved. Not in one big line. Not like the Concorde expected. They split into small groups. Fast ships darted forward. Heavy cruisers hung back. Fighters swarmed like angry insects. The Concorde opened fire first. Bright lances of energy cut through space. Some hit shields. Shields flared blue and held. Others missed as human ships rolled and twisted. Daniel watched the pattern. They fight like they always hunt. Straight in. No tricks. Karen smiled a little. Then we give them tricks. She sent orders. A wing of fighters dropped decoys, small pods that looked like ships on sensors. The Concorde chased them. Real ships slipped past. One Concorde carrier tried to launch its dropships. Human torpedoes found the launch bays. Fire bloomed inside the ship. It listed to one side. Secondary explosions followed. On Earth, people watched from streets and rooftops. Families gathered in living rooms. Screens showed the battle. No one spoke much. They just watched. Some held hands. Some prayed quietly. In orbit, a small boarding team prepared. Led by Sergeant Matthew Grant. He and 20 Marines wore heavy-powered suits, black and gray, helmets sealed. They waited in a shuttle that looked broken, part of the plan. Their shuttle drifted near a damaged Concorde frigate. The enemy thought it was wreckage. They ignored it. The shuttle bumped the hull gently. Magnets locked. Cutting tools burned through metal. Marines poured in. Inside the corridors were narrow and lit red. Vorath guards turned too late. Matthew's team moved fast. Short bursts from rifles. Claws met steel blades, built into suit arms. One Krellar charged. Matthew sidestepped and drove a vibro knife into its neck joint. The creature fell. They reached the bridge. The captain, a tall Lirani, tried to use its mind. Pain hit the Marines like a wave, but earpieces played white noise. The attack failed. Matthew raised his rifle. One shot. The Lirani dropped. They took control, turned the ship's guns on its own fleet. Concorde ships exploded under friendly fire. Confusion spread. Zethar saw it happen. They board our ships? Impossible. An officer answered, they use our own weapons against us. They know our weak points now. Zethar hissed, then destroy everything. Full barrage on their main fleet. The Concorde turned all guns on the Vanguard group. Energy beams filled space. Shields on human ships glowed bright, then cracked. One frigate broke apart. Another lost engines. Daniel felt the ship shake. Alarms screamed. Status? Port shields at 20%, Ethan reported. We can take 2 more hits. Then we move, Daniel said. Full speed. Bring us close to their flagship. The Vanguard accelerated. It cut through the battle like a knife. Concorde ships tried to block it. Human fighters cleared the path. Missiles and guns spoke together. Karen watched the range drop. Too close. They'll tear us apart. Daniel looked at her. Or we tear them apart first. He gave the order. Boarding parties launch. Target command decks. Take their leaders if you can. Kill them if you must. Shuttles shot out. Small and fast, they aimed for Fang of Eternity. Inside the Concorde flagship, Zethar felt the ship rock. What is happening? Boarders, an officer said. Multiple points. They are inside. Hunters rushed to corridors. They met humans in powered armor. Fights were brutal. Claws against blades. Venom against sealed suits. One by one, Concord guards fell. Humans pressed forward. Matthew Grant led his team down a main hall. They reached a sealed door. Explosives blew it open. Beyond stood Zethar and his guards. The old Vorath raised his weapon. "You dare enter here." Matthew stepped forward. "Now we return the visit." The fight was short and hard. Guards fell. Zethar fought with claws and teeth. Matthew took a cut across the arm. He ignored it. He fired once. Zethar staggered. Another shot. The elder dropped. Silence followed. Matthew looked at the body, then at the command console. He sent a signal. Flagship command taken. Guns offline. Across the fleet, Concord ships lost direction. Some stopped firing. Others turned to run. Daniel watched from the Vanguard bridge. The enemy formation broke. Ships scattered. Human forces pressed the advantage. Fighters chased stragglers. Cruisers finished damaged targets. One last Concord battleship tried a final charge. It aimed straight for Earth. Human ships met it head-on. Combined fire tore through its hull. It exploded in a bright fireball. The battle slowed, then stopped. Space filled with drifting wreckage, silent hulks, faint emergency beacons. Not to his fleet, to the remaining Concord ships. "This is Captain Hayes of the Earth Alliance. Your leaders are dead or captured. Your fleet is broken. Return to your worlds. Do not come back. The war is over." No reply came at first. Then one ship after another turned away. Engines lit. They left the system. Fast. On Earth, cheers rose. Streets filled with people. Flags waved. Families hugged. Tears fell. Daniel looked at the blue planet below. "Home," he said quietly. Karen put a hand on his shoulder. "We kept it safe." He nodded. "And we showed them who we are." The battle was won. Not by being the strongest, not by being the fastest, by refusing to lose, by adapting, by fighting for what mattered. The Concord had come as hunters. They left as prey. The stars grew quiet again. But humanity stood taller. The deadliest predators had proven their claim. The battle above Earth ended in quiet. Space filled with broken ships and drifting pieces of metal. No more bright flashes. No more roaring engines. Just silence and the slow turn of the planet below. The Concord Armada was gone. Some ships fled, others burned. A few surrendered and waited for human teams to board them. The hunters who once ruled the stars now ran like scared animals. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Captain Daniel Hayes stood still. He watched the main screen. It showed empty space where the enemy fleet had been. Small green dots marked friendly ships. Red dots were few and far between. Most were dark. Karen Brooks broke the quiet. "It's over." Daniel gave a small nod. "For now." He turned to the crew. "Good work, all of you. Send word to the surface. The threat is gone. Tell families their people are coming home." Cheers started soft, then grew loud. Hands clapped shoulders. Smiles appeared on tired faces. Ethan Cole wiped sweat from his brow. Olivia Grant leaned back in her chair and let out a long breath. Down on Earth, the news spread fast. Screens in every city lit up. Voices announced victory. Streets filled with people. Cars honked. Flags waved from windows. Children ran outside to look at the sky, hoping to see something. Parents hugged each other. Old soldiers stood straighter. For the first time in weeks, people felt safe again. In the weeks that followed, cleanup began. Human ships collected wreckage. They salvaged what they could. Weapons, engines, data cores. Scientists studied Concord technology. Engineers took it apart piece by piece. They learned how the enemy ships worked, how their weapons fired, how their hunters thought. Every piece helped humans grow stronger. On New Horizon, life returned slowly. John Carter walked through River Bend. The town looked different. Some buildings had new scars from laser burns. Trees were missing where ships crashed, but people worked together to fix things. Hammers rang, saws buzzed, children helped carry small loads. Laughter came back. Sofia Ramirez stood in her workshop. Tables held pieces of Vorath armor and Krellar weapons. She pointed to a glowing crystal. This is their power core. Cleaner than ours. We can use it for cities, for ships, for farms. John looked at it. From hunters to helpers. She smiled. Funny how things change. Across the frontier, other colonies did the same. Iron Reach miners went back underground. They dug deeper with new tools taken from Concord ships. Clear sky platforms floated again. Fishermen returned to the water. Schools opened. Markets filled with voices. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Harmony Station felt different this time. Fewer Apex Concord seats were filled. Many were empty. Zethar was dead. Most elders had fled or died. The remaining species looked small and nervous. The human delegation entered last. Daniel Hayes led them again. Karen Brooks walked beside him. They wore the same simple uniforms. No extra medals. No show of power. Just calm steps. The new speaker was a Lirani named Velis. She floated forward. Her voice came soft into every mind. The Apex Concord is broken. Their worlds ask for peace. They offer terms. No more claims on frontier systems. No more hunter packs. Trade instead of war. Daniel listened. Then he spoke. We accept peace, but on our terms too. The frontier is ours now. Any ship that enters without permission will be met with force. We will trade, we will talk, but we will not bow. Velis dipped her head. Understood. The council voted. Hands, claws, and lights rose in agreement. Humans gained a permanent seat, not at the edge, in the center. Years passed. On Earth, Daniel Hayes retired. He bought a small farm near a quiet lake. He grew vegetables and watched sunsets. Sometimes children came to visit. They asked for stories. He told them about the war. Not to scare them, to teach them. He always ended the same way. We did not want the fight, but when it came, we finished it. Remember that. Strength is not claws or size. Strength is never giving up. On New Horizon, John Carter became mayor of River Bend. He built new schools and parks. Sofia Ramirez led a research center. They named it Apex Reborn. Young people studied old Concord tech and made it better. Ships grew faster. Weapons grew smarter. But most work went to peace. Medicine, food, clean water. One day a Vorath ship arrived in orbit. Not armed. Just a small transport. The captain asked to meet the leaders. John agreed. The Vorath stepped onto the surface. He looked smaller without weapons. His scales were dull. He spoke through a translator. We come to learn. Our young ones need to know what happened. They need to know why we lost. John looked at him for a long time. Then he nodded. Come, walk with me. They walked through the town. Children played. Farmers worked fields. Engineers tested new engines. The Vorath watched everything. At the end of the day, he spoke again. You were not prey. You were always the predator. We just did not see it. John answered quietly. We never wanted to be hunters. We wanted to build, to grow. You forced our hand. The Vorath left with recordings and books. He promised to teach his people the truth. In alien schools across the galaxy, teachers told new stories. They spoke of the soft creatures from a small blue world. They spoke of how those creatures refused to run, how they learned, how they fought, how they won. Children listened with wide eyes. Some asked questions. Teachers gave the same answer every time. Never declare war on the humans. They are the deadliest predators known. Not because they are born strong, but because they choose to be. The stars stayed quiet. Trade ships moved between worlds. Humans explored new systems. they built outposts, they met new species. Some became friends, some stayed careful. But the message spread far, in every language, in every corner of space. Humans were here. They did not seek war. But if war came, they ended it, thoroughly. On a clear night, John Carter stood on a hill above Riverbend. Stars filled the sky. He thought about the war, about the losses, about the winds. A soft wind moved through the trees. Sophia joined him. She carried 2 drinks. They sat on the grass. "Think it will last?" she asked. John looked up. "Peace? Maybe, as long as we remember who we are." She smiled. "Stubborn, smart, never quit." He raised his drink. To that, stars watched. Far away, on Earth, Daniel Hayes sat on his porch. Same lake, same sunset. A grandchild sat beside him. "Tell me again," the child said, "about the war." Daniel smiled. "Once upon a time, some hunters thought we were easy prey. They came to take our home. We showed them they were wrong." The child listened, eyes bright. "And we won," Daniel finished. The child nodded. "Because we're the deadliest." Daniel ruffled the small head. "Because we're human." The night grew dark. Stars shone brighter. The galaxy turned, and humanity kept going. Forward. Always forward.